Hi, this is Karen McNall, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And today we're going to be visiting our Crafting with Karen series, so let's get started. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Tamika from Scrapdaworld. She's a YouTuber, and she taught me how to make these hand sanitizer holders, and they look like this. I did change it up just slightly. Not much, but I really liked her design. I thought it was really easy to work with, and I thought I would share it with you as well. So here's one using retired Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper and cardstock. That's Watermelon Wonder, and also some Hello Honey ribbon that I've had in my stash. And here's one using more current product. And this is a piece of the Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper with some Wisteria Wonder cardstock on the back. So they look like this. And I'll show you how to make these. So we'll put these aside, and we'll bring in, we're going to need quite a few products and not a lot of stamping. So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to bring in my Stampin' trimmer, and this is a piece of Wisteria Wonder cardstock, and it is cut 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and now we're going to be scoring. So make sure we get our cutting blade out of the way. And I'm going to score it on this side. I like to use the 1-inch mark here since I'm right-handed. And then I'm just going to flip it and again score it at 1. So 1 inch on both sides. Now we're going to rotate it, and we're going to be working on the long end. And we're going to score at 1 inch, 2 inches, and at 3 inches we're going to lightly score it. We don't want to score it all the way, so just lightly, or you could use a pencil if you wanted to, but it's just going to be our cut line. So we are all done with the trimmer. We'll put that aside. And now we're going to bring in our bone folder, and we're going to be using our bone folder quite a bit. We're going to score all of these lines. And again, there's quite a few of them, so I like to start with the 1-inch score line, and then we'll just score going upwards. And make sure you do not score that 3-inch mark, because that's going to be our cut line. So now we'll bring in our our scissors here, our paper snips, and we're just going to make a cut at this mark and this mark, this little tab here. And we're going to flip it and do it on the same side, or the opposite side, excuse me. Okay, so now the next cut, I like to bring in my bigger scissors, and we're going to cut at a diagonal from this point to this point on both sides. So I'll just bring in my scissors here and just cut again at a diagonal. And now I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to cut back down, so top to that bottom score line. Okay, we don't need those, so that's all set. Our next step is to bring in some tear and tape, or you could use your fast fuse. And we're going to add the tear and tape. I'll bring in another template I've used to 4 places on the cardstock. So I've cut these down. I find just cutting the tear and tape, because it's such a small piece, I like to just cut it with my scissors, just because it's a little bit easier to work with. So again, we're just going to put these on these 4 tabs. And our last piece here. Okay, so now we're just going to remove the backing. Actually, one thing I forgot to do, and that would be, since I'm selling these at a craft fair, we need to put the Stampin' Up! Registered trademark on the bottom of it. And so I like to do tone on tone with this, so I'm just going to put it in the middle here. So that covers the copyright rule. And also the hand sanitizers always have an expiration date on them. So let me bring in the hand sanitizers we're actually going to be using today. And I found these at the Dollar Tree, and they come 3 to a pack, so 33 cents a piece. Make a really good gift to make. And right here, you'll see, I don't know if you can see this on camera or not, but it has an expiration date of July of 2019. So what I like to do on the bottom of this holder is I like to just write expires 7 of 2019. So I don't have to unpackage these if I don't sell them. I know when the expiration date is, and we're all good to go. So again, make sure you do your stamping and your writing ahead of time. All right, so we're going to just remove the backing of the tear and tape, and we're going to create our little holder. So what we're going to do is we want this flap here, the one that doesn't have the tear and tape on it, we're going to bring it up and match it up. Okay, so again, we're going to lift this one up, and then we're going to bring it over, and I'm looking at my score lines to making sure they line up properly. Now we're just going to bring this one up, and I'll rotate this on the camera for you so you can see. You're just going to want to make sure your edges are, you know, matched up accordingly. And again, on this side. Okay, so here is our base. And what I like to do is just use a bone folder in here just to make sure it is stuck down, because it's a little bit hard to do that otherwise. Okay, so here is our holder, and there's our Stampin' Up! And our expiration date on the bottom. So now we're going to add the Designer Series paper. So I've got a piece of Designer Series paper. This is a Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper, and it is cut 1 5/8 by 6 1/4. And I'm not going to score this at all, because sometimes you could be just a little bit off in your cutting and scoring, so it wouldn't line up properly if you did pre-score this. So I'm just going to go with it. I find it's the easiest way to do. And I'm just going to add my Tombow glue. I feel Tombow glue actually works very well with this. So now I'm going to be working from the back side and also looking at the pattern of the paper, because some Designer Series paper does have a certain pattern on it, and you wouldn't want your flowers upside down. So in this case, I'm going to actually start, the back is going to be upside down, but when you flip it over, you want your paper to be going this way. So it's kind of you're working opposite, but when you get the hang of it, it works okay. So we're just going to lay this on the base here and just give it a nice little press. And then there's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit less of a border. Now we're going to just flip this over, and I'm going to push this in there for right now. And now I'm going to just bring this up until it meets the edge of that cardstock. And now I'm going to bring in my bone folder, and I'm just going to give it a nice press. And then I'm going to just use the bone folder to secure the Designer Series paper in place. And now I'm just going to flip it over and just give it a nice little burnish there on all 4 sides. So that's stuck pretty well. Now we just need to add the small piece of Designer Series paper, and let me just bring that in, and that is from, again, it's the matching Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper, and this little piece is cut 7/8 of an inch by 1 5/8. And again, we'll just bring in our Tombow glue and just add it to the back side. And we'll just look at the paper and see, you know, what's the best appearance. And again, just a small border on all 4 sides. And with the Tombow glue, it just gives you enough time to get it in place. It's a very small holder you're working with. So using the Tombow glue does give you a little bit of wiggle room. So there is our holder. And let me bring in I'll choose the, this is fresh fruit scented. So they all come in different scents. We'll need some Stampin' Dimensionals. So when I sell these, I wouldn't want this. I would want this to say stay secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 dimensionals. So I'm going to put one up high here, and I'm also going to put one down on the bottom. And there's a little like indentation here, so if you put it there, it's not going to stick on that holder. So I like to move it and place it more towards that lip on the top front. And then we're just going to peel these off, and then we'll bring in our holder here, and I'm just going to place this in and just trying to center it the best I can and just give it a press. Now some people do add washi tape to the top of here to make it a little bit more special, but I'm not going to do that today. So I think that looks pretty good. So now let's package it together. So I purchased these. I had a hard time actually finding a bag that will work with this. So what I did was I found these bags. They're 4 inches by 6 inches. Doris, My Boutique bags. And we'll just take one of them out. They come, you know, with a little Ziploc here, which we don't need. So what I want to do is I want to cut that off ahead of time, because I found cutting it off now is easier than cutting it off when you have it all tied up. So we're just going to run our snips across there. And now we're going to just place this in a bag. And now we're going to add some decorative shred, which really adds to your packaging, because, you know, you could package it like this, but don't you think it looks a lot better packaged with the shred? So I loved Tamika's idea. So I'm gonna case that idea from her. Thank you, Tamika. You made a great project, and I'm glad you shared it. I'm gonna take my bone folder. I'm just gonna press this in there to get it stuck down there, and I'll bring in some more decorative shred here. I don't know if I need that much, but make sure you have a big work surface to create these if you like to give it a try. The shred is just like goes everywhere. Okay, we're almost done. I just want to get that shred out of the way so you can kind of see the bottle there of hand sanitizer. And hand sanitizer you can use year round, so especially in the winter season when a lot of people are usually sick. So now we're just going to bring in some ribbon, and the ribbon I chose for this is the metallic edged ribbon. It's got whisper white and the silver. So I'm just going to bring in my ribbon scissors and just cut off a piece. Really don't know how long it is, but it's probably about 10 inches long. And I'm just going to tie a bow. And pardon my bow tying, I'm not that great at it, but I'm going to give it a try. If we don't keep trying at something, we won't get any better at it. So I'm doing this on live camera, so hopefully I can get it for you on the first try. So I'm going to just I found the bunny loop ears actually work the best. So I've got those. I just need to make them a little bit bigger here. Okay, let's see if I can get this. Hopefully I can. Almost got it there. Okay, perfect. I think I got it. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to get this tight. Now I'm just going to fussy around with loops here, just pulling them down. And one more try. Okay, so now we just want to work this. The knot's not that great, but it's okay. It'll work. So that looks pretty good. I'm just going to pull this one a little bit smaller, just so my tail's a little bit longer there on that side. And let's bring in my ribbon scissors, and we're just gonna cut off the tails here. I didn't waste too much ribbon. I don't like to waste the ribbon. It's so pretty. Make sure you use every piece. But anyway, here's our finished product, and let me bring in the other ones I've already recreated. So if you've got any designer series paper cardstock that you have in your stash that's retired or you just want to use up scraps, this is a great project to do it. And here's another one with the blue, and here's the one with the yellow. So I hope I inspired you to recreate the hand sanitizer. Again, thank you, Tamika, for helping me learn how to make this holder. So for all your Stampin' Up! Needs, please visit my website at inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching.